So I've been loosely following this whole Kouri Richins story just like everybody else. And I have to admit to you guys, man, the more and more I hear this woman speak or text message other people, the more I realize that she's a babbling moron. Like she really is not cut out to be doing any crimes. She should have a legal job and a legal life and be a good citizen like everybody else, because this whole underground criminal life that she's trying to create over here, it's not for her. It's not for her. I think you probably have to have a 3-digit IQ to be a halfway decent criminal. This lady is struggling to pass a 75 IQ, in my opinion. Listen, she's a dumbass. I thought there would be a little bit more creativity to the way she took out her husband, or maybe she would try to cover her tracks in a creative way. But no, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves 3 groups of text messages that I want to read you guys today. First is when she contacts her lover after she just allegedly assassinated her husband. Second is a couple months later when she speaks to a friend thinking that she's all free and safe. Mind you, she's texting this to where the police will later on be able to find this information, right? And I'm gonna show you a third set of text messages to where she's complaining that she's being detained and arrested for possible murder. You can't make this shit up. And all the way through this journey, she's gonna be leaving a beautiful paper trail for all of us to read. Okay, so we're gonna start off with her text message to her lover after she killed her husband. And I know his heart probably sank to his booty when he saw that, because he just realized, it just clicked to him, and I'm talking about her lover, it just clicked to him that the woman that he's cheating with is probably a psycho bitch. Probably, maybe. I didn't say that. I'm just saying that's probably what he was thinking. Let's go ahead and check this thing out, man. Run the music. So we begin with a text message from her lover, Josh Grossman. Okay, he says, "Hey, what's going on with you? You good?" And mind you, this is her live-in fixer-upper boyfriend who's screwing her all across the houses that she's flipping. Mind you, okay? So whenever he's texting her, I'm pretty sure in his mind, he has some awareness that she has somebody that could be close to her. So he's like, "What's going on? Something's odd right now. What's happening?" I'm assuming she texted him ahead of time, letting him know that there was a problem. She responds, "Eric passed away." And then she immediately double texts saying, "Talk later." Josh Grossman responds, "What?" She responds back to him, "No words, turning phone off. Eric passed away last night." Now, I just want to pause it right there. Why would you tell the man you're fucking that your husband died? I don't know. But it almost seems like, hey, by the way, we're going to be able to be free and do everything together now because my husband's dead. I will tell you one thing. The shorty that the man is cheating with will never take her seriously, okay? I heard a story, I don't know if it was true or if it was fiction, but there was this one girl who broke up with her husband so that she could be with the man she was cheating with. He broke up with her. He was like, "Bitch, why did you do that? You're a cheater. Why would I want to spend all my time with you? You're a horrible person." You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, it doesn't make any sense. So I feel like she's texting him this just to let him know, like, hey, he's dead, so we're gonna be good. We're in the future, I'm gonna get some money and we're gonna be good. Josh responds, "No words either. Lost." And then Kouri responds, and if you notice at the top, it says K-Babe. So I think that's his little weird ass fucking pet name for her. K-Babe. So whenever you see K-Babe at the top, know that's her. And I feel like that's another little indicator to how she really feels, because mind you, she poisoned her husband. She stole money from her best friend. She's doing all these horrible things. She don't really care about anybody but herself. And you can even see it by the way she has his name. There's no pet name connected to it. It's just Josh Grossman. I feel like that kind of indicates how she feels about him. But anyway, she says, "Nuts. I can't do this." And then Josh, he breaks down with his whole crybaby thing. "Oh, I'm so sorry, baby." He tells her, "I am devastated. I can't comprehend. I don't know what to say or do. I want you to be safe. You're everyone. What happened? Who are you with? Not knowing that she's the one who actually offed this man. 3 a.m. I called the ambulance. Been up since then. People, family, friends still here. They think it's an aneurysm. All right, so mind you, that was months ago in their timeline, right? Kouri Richins texts him around March 30th, telling him that her husband's dead, there's family around. Just, this is the information so that you can have it. You know, we'll catch up and we'll talk about the information later. I'm assuming she's probably keeping a low profile about having a lover and communicating with him. So now that the family is all around the house, we're trying to figure out if it was a heart attack, an aneurysm, what happened. She's telling him to chill, right? So months later, this clearly turns into a situation. So we get into another thread of text messages around 6/6 this time. So what is that? That's June. Around June 6th, we find Kouri Richins speaking with a friend, and she seems to be a little deterred by what's happening. Now remember, the last video we listened to, she called the coroner's office, no, not the coroner's office. She called the toxicology's office to see whether or not there was fentanyl in the system and what he could have died from. So I believe that this is what's following after that call. I'm not too solid with the timeline, but you'll see what I mean. So let's start. She messages her friend and she says, "They said it's ready and they have me on the list on first call to come get the official report. And the death certificate has now been updated. So I'm rushing to get it before Katie's dumb ass." I'm not sure who Katie is, but I'm assuming that's a family member. The friend responds, "I was going to ask if you might run into them. What if you do see them? Holy shit, I'm freaking out. Is everything okay?" And then it seems like Kouri Richins got there and then she got the report. So she sends a photo and she continues and says, "A trace of fentanyl. Manner of death, undetermined." Now this is really big for her because this is almost like gold for her, because the main thing you want is an undetermined death. Because if it's undetermined, we don't even know whether or not if it was a murder, an overdose, or that's the best thing. Keep it as obscure as possible. So I feel like she's excited about this. Remember, this is months later. She's had time to think about the outcome. And in her series of outcomes, this is probably the most ideal thing to happen. But her problem is she keeps fucking talking. That's her biggest problem. She continues, "His lungs were shot to shit. And when he took something containing fentanyl, it put his lungs overboard and they shut down. Chels, I think it's finally fucking over. Fucking over. I'm waiting on my attorney to call me and confirm that, but I think it's over. I'm bawling." And little did she know it had just begun. It had just begun. At this point in time, I'm assuming that the investigation wasn't really being too nice in her direction. So with this autopsy report, she's thinking like, okay, now we're good. You know, let's get to the attorney. Let's figure out what's happening. I'm about to go to Malibu Beach with my boyfriend and we're about to fuck to the sunset. That's what I'm about to do. The friend responds, "Holy shit. Is that what the ME said? So are they done with the investigation too? Like, did they find where he got the fentanyl from? Holy shit, friend, it's over. And Friday, we get to see more about it and have everything over. Like, holy shit." And little does her friend know that she's talking to the actual murderer. Now, my biggest thing is I don't think her friend knows the extent of how evil this woman is. I don't think anybody knows except for Kouri. Just a bird-brained moron. There's one thing about being an evil genius. It's almost, that's why there's the saying, he was such an evil genius. There's something not commendable, but there's something interesting about it. There's something about that person to where it's like, wow, he's evil, but he had a plan and he stuck with it. This is an evil moron. I promise there is nothing to look up and be in awe for with this person. Then the friend continues. She said, "It looked like with the silicosis, COVID, and then fentanyl, it just got his lungs. Did they say how much of fentanyl it was? And then Kouri Richins just responds and says, text you in a few. And that was pretty much the conversation that Kouri had with that friend. Now, mind you, this is the same friend that Kouri stole from. $45,000 from. And this is why I believe with my whole heart that her friend didn't know that she was an evil person, because even she got. Listen, Kouri Richins is the definition of a sociopath, okay? She doesn't care about anybody but herself. And that goes for everybody. I just want to play you a little snippet of her friend basically breaking down into tears after explaining, trying to help her people out and getting robbed for it. Her whole life savings of $45,000. Let's check this out.
What was your understanding of the down payment?
She told me it was to pay the brokers back that she borrowed money from to get the house.
And how much money was the down payment?
$45,000.
What, ma'am, were you doing for a living at that time?
I was a manager up at Soldier Hollow Grill.
And did you work in part for tips?
Yes.
And did you have savings from your tip money to pay the $45,000 down payment?
Yes.
Did that amount to essentially your life savings at that point?
Yes.
Did you wire $45,000 to Kouri Richins in 2 separate wires?
Yes.
Now, mind you, this is Kouri's best friend, or one of her best friends. Could you imagine robbing $45,000 from one of your best friends and just not even being able to look at her? While her friend's over there on the stand, Kouri's like this. She's never like that. She's looking at her boyfriend. She's looking at other people on the stand. But when her friend comes up there, she's staring at the ground. I mean, shit, bro. I hope that I never get to the point to where I have no feelings for anybody, because that's clearly what she is. Like, she didn't care about her husband. She don't care about her boyfriend. She didn't care about her friend. I mean, she's literally like Miley Cyrus coming through like a wrecking ball. I'm surprised the kids didn't get hurt. But anyways, this is the final message, right? This is the final message I want to show you guys today. And it's when she texts her lover about being arrested. And I feel like it's just so poetic and it's so beautiful. After stealing and lying and doing all this shit for months, feeling like she's going to get away, it all comes down to this. Let me read this for you. So Kouri texts Josh once again. She says, the autopsy report isn't done yet, but the toxicology report came back and he had a trace of fentanyl in his system. I didn't even know what the hell that was until they showed up at my door. My attorneys are fighting it because they detained me. No reading me my rights. They never told me why they were at my house and what the hell they were looking for. I was like, what the fuck? And they had a search warrant and everything. This is so fucking ridiculous. And all that drug dog and everything. And this is actually how she's typing. She said, and all that drug dogs and everything. And they didn't find a damn thing but Eric's weed gummies. Congratulations, idiots. They were so disappointed. My attorney said in order to get a search warrant, they would have had to have some type of proof a crime was committed, whether it's drugs being sold in and out of my house or me having something to do with this shit. IDK even know what the fuck that is. Now, lady, you don't know what the fuck fentanyl is. You don't know what fentanyl is? The number one drug in America, it seems like nowadays. Everybody's out here doing the fentanyl flop. You don't even know what that is. And this lady, I can't even read her shit properly. She said, IDK even know what the fuck that is. Like, lady, calm down, relax, and express your words properly. She is an absolute mess. And I understand why she's a mess too. Because you did a murder without thinking twice. You just said, let me go to my local fentanyl dealer and just drop it in my husband's beer. That's stupid. IDK even know what the fuck that is. I thought it was cocaine. The detective isn't corrected me. She really types like this. I mean, you have autocorrect and all that to your disposal, and you still type like this. She said, "I thought it was cocaine. The detective isn't corrected me. They took all electronics out my house, even my kids' stuff." So, anyways, this might be a little out of order in terms of the text messages, but I did want to show you these texts just to show you how scrambled she really is. But anyways, folks, you guys let me know if you want to see some more text messages, if you want to see any live streams covering this case, so on and so forth. I really do believe that the more we read these messages, the more we realize that her plan wasn't fully formulated. She was probably just operating off of emotion. You know what I'm saying? She was operating off of pure emotion, feeling like she could get away with this shit. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, man. I'll see you real soon. You already know the vibes, man. Sleep with one eye open if you have a little bit of a wonky wife. That's what I would say. But until then, folks, I'll see you soon.